If you believe you're the only one you can rely on, you never truly feel safe enough to stop moving, to stop controlling, to just breathe and be present. Hyperindependence costs you ease. Hyperindependence costs you community. What is hyperindependence? Hyperindependence looks like struggling to ask for help when you know you're drowning and you know you need the help. It's feeling guilty whenever you need support. It's believing that needing someone makes you weak somehow. So how do you start to heal hyperindependence? Welcome to the Upgrade with Elle. Today's episode is a little heavier, but it's real, and that's the point. And to be honest, it's the kind of conversation that costs you something to say it out loud, but I'm going to do it because I'm really hoping that it helps somebody else. I realized something in my many, many years of going to therapy. And I just don't want to keep it to myself anymore because I had a conversation recently that made me realize that many others are navigating this too. Sometimes what we think is strength is actually survival. Wearing a mask. Hyperindependence isn't always confidence. Sometimes it's self-protection. Sometimes it's fear that if we let anyone get close enough to help us, that they'll end up hurting us instead. And if you've been carrying anything like this, or if you've been carrying things on your own for so long that it feels normal, if asking for help feels uncomfortable or weak or even dangerous at times, I just want to tell you you're not alone. You're also not broken. You've just adapted, but you're allowed to outgrow survival mode. I'm giving you the permission to do that. You're allowed to heal beyond just the, I'll do it myself. If you've been there, you know. This episode is not about judgment. It's about coming home to yourself and giving yourself permission to operate differently. And it's about healing something that you never consciously even made the decision to be to begin with. Let's talk about what hyperindependence really is and how we start letting it go. So what is hyperindependence really? Maybe some of you have heard of that term, maybe some of you haven't, but it's not just being strong. It's not just having high standards. It's the refusal, often the unconscious one, to rely on anyone for anything. Hyperindependence looks like struggling to ask for help when you know you're drowning and you know you need the help. It's feeling guilty whenever you need support. It's believing that needing someone makes you weak somehow. And it's thinking that if I don't do it myself, it won't get done, or it won't get done right, or it won't get done on time, whatever the case, right? On the surface, it can look like ambition. It can look like drive or being that girl or that guy, always being on top of everything, having everything together. But underneath, it's actually fear. Fear that trusting someone will end in disappointment. Fear that leaning on anyone makes you vulnerable for being hurt. Fear that if you need someone and they let you down, it'll break you in a way that you don't know how to recover from. So you're going to do everything in your power to prevent that from happening. And even when you do let someone in to help you, there's a part of you that's still bracing for everything to fall apart. You're building a backup plan to make sure that you're well-versed in how you're going to handle it if it does fall apart, if they fall through. You're staying guarded enough to protect yourself just in case they disappoint you. Hyperindependence doesn't just say, I'll do it myself. It says, even when I let you close, I'm ready to survive without you. I'm ready to still do it on my own. Does that resonate with any of you? If it does, then you're like me because I've been there. And I didn't really realize for a long time that my hyperindependence wasn't just ambition. I honestly thought that's what it was. It wasn't just about being driven and being organized and being on top of things and having it all together. That's how I perceived it. But now I know it was armor. It was this survival instinct that said, if you do it all yourself, no one can drop you. No one can disappoint you. If you carry everything, no one can be blamed for it not working. And I built a life that looked like control on the outside, but underneath it was fear. Fear of letting go, fear of being vulnerable, fear of being disappointed, fear of depending on someone and watching them not show up for you. And the hardest part is I didn't even realize that I was doing this. This was very unconscious. Hyperindependence doesn't always scream, I'm hurt and I'm in survival mode. Sometimes it dresses itself up in like overachievers, success, perfectionism, and it can even fool you. Every single disappointment reinforced the way that I was. Every single time someone didn't show up, every single time they didn't do what I needed them to do or what they promised they would do, every time my trust got breached, every time I got let down, it just made my walls higher. It just made it more easy for me to operate in this hyperindependence. It made me self-reliant. It made me stronger, as that's how I perceived it. It made me believe that even deeper that all I could do was count on myself. And it took a long time for me to understand that because I thought I could just do it all alone. But what I didn't realize is that I didn't have to. And even now, with all the healing work that I've done, there are still moments when someone like wants to help me and I'm like, no, I got it. It feels unsafe to me. When I have to consciously talk myself out of building a backup plan, where I have to remind myself that it's okay for people to help you. It's okay to lean on others. And you don't have to lose yourself in that process. And if you're carrying that too, I just want you to know you're not crazy. You're not broken. You learned how to survive in a season or in a moment that you really needed that skill. And that's okay. But now you deserve to learn how to trust, even if it's slowly, even if it's clumsy, even if it scares you. The truth is, hyperindependence comes with a cost. It really does. And sometimes you don't even realize how much you're paying until you're exhausted. You're absolutely spent. You're lonely. And you're wondering why do I feel so tired? Hyperindependence costs you ease because you're constantly carrying everything alone, even when there are people there that want to help you. It costs you intimacy because real closeness requires trust. And if you're always bracing yourself for disappointment, you're never fully letting your guard down. Hyperindependence costs you community because you get so used to being the strong one, being the one who never asks for anything, who never needs anything, right? And slowly, without you meaning to, you isolate yourself. It can even cost you rest because if you believe you're the only one you can rely on, you never truly feel safe enough to stop moving, to stop controlling, to just breathe and be present. Hyperindependence can even cost you rest because if you're believing you're the only one that you can rely on, you never truly feel safe enough to stop moving, to stop controlling, to just breathe and be present. And maybe that's the hardest part. Hyperindependence can also cost you softness. That's the part of you that wants to believe that people can love you well. The part of you that wants to be held without suspicion. The part of you that wants to still hope for connection, even if you don't know how to reach for it yet. Hyperindependence doesn't just protect you from pain. It also robs you of joy. And that's a part that I don't think a lot of people realize. It's really heartbreaking, to be honest, but in realizing it, it's also where the healing starts. One of the most important things I had to learn, and maybe you do too, is that hyperindependence doesn't just come randomly into your life. It's not some random flaw you just picked up. It's actually a survival skill, something that you did out of a need. You didn't just become hyper independent because you're too much or too guarded or too difficult. You became hyper independent because life or people taught you that it wasn't always safe to need anyone. So you became self-reliant. And maybe you learned it at a young age. Maybe you learned it when you were in a relationship. Maybe you learned it after trusting someone with your heart, with your dreams, with your needs, and realizing that they couldn't carry it the way you needed them to. When safety isn't consistent, independence becomes protection. You learn, if I only depend on me, I can't be let down. If I do it all myself, nobody can abandon me halfway. Okay, you're setting the expectation and then you're living up to it. You're not giving that to anybody else. And you know what? That strategy probably saved you. It probably got you through a really hard time, a really difficult season. It helped you build. It helped you survive. It helped you keep moving when other people would have crumbled, but you didn't. So pat yourself on the back for getting through whatever it is you needed to get through. Don't shame yourself for being hyper independent. You didn't do anything wrong to become hyper independent. You adapted the best way that you knew how. But here's the key. Survival mode was never meant to be permanent. Okay? It's not a space that you want to live in. Survival is a bridge. It's not a home. And the point is, you deserve to cross over into something better, into safety, into softness, real trust, real connection. You don't have to abandon your strength that you built. Okay, that's also what I'm not saying. But you can choose when you use it now. You don't have to live trapped inside of it. So how do you start to heal hyperindependence? Okay. First, it starts with awareness. So if any of this episode is resonating with you and you can identify some of these behaviors in yourself, you might be hyperindependent. You have to be willing to see it, not shame it, not judge it, just see it. To notice the moments when you say, I got it, before someone even offers, right? That's me. Okay. To notice the part of you that feels safer carrying it all alone, even when your arms are tired. Healing begins when you start to ask yourself the questions, do I really have to do this alone? Or is this just the story that I've learned to survive in? Those are the things you need to start asking yourself. It'll help you to change the narrative in your head. And from there, it's really about practicing small moments of trust, rebuilding that trust. Not huge leaps. I'm not saying all of a sudden you give somebody else, you delegate your whole budget to somebody else or whatever it is, right? Not just blind faith, but small risks that say, maybe it is safe to lean in a little bit here and there. Maybe it's okay to let a friend pick you up from the airport instead of booking your Uber in advance. Maybe it's okay to let someone help you carry a burden that you've never felt comfortable saying out loud. Maybe it's letting yourself admit, even if it's just to yourself, that you're tired of being the strong one all the time. You're tired of doing things by yourself. Healing hyperindependence is not just about becoming helpless, okay? Don't misunderstand it for that. There's a balance. It's about giving yourself permission to be human, and we all deserve that. It's about learning that you are still worthy, still powerful, still safe, even when you need help, even when you're soft, even when you don't have it all together. Did you know it's okay not to have it all together? For a long time, I didn't. It's about reparenting yourself, becoming the safe place you didn't always have so that you can learn how to let others in, and you can do it from a place that's a choice, not a desperation, not out of desperation. You don't have to be perfect. Okay. You don't have to master this overnight, but making little teeny steps towards healing this part of you is going to benefit you. You just have to practice opening the door, even if it's just a crack, and trusting that you're safe enough to let someone be inside of your life and help you and support you. If nobody's ever told you this before, I want you to hear this today. You're allowed to be strong and supported. You're allowed to be capable and cared for. You're allowed to be powerful and soft at the same time. All of those things can coexist. Hyperindependence may have been necessary once, but you don't have to live there forever. Real strength isn't just about surviving alone. Real strength is about knowing that you don't have to anymore. It's trusting yourself enough to know when it's okay to lean. It's believing that you are worthy of being held, supported, and loved, not just because you're perfect, because none of us are, so you're never going to achieve that, but because you're just human. And humans thrive in community. They thrive in an environment where they're supported. So if you see any of this in yourself, or any part of you is tired of carrying it alone, I just want you to know this. You're not weak for wanting softness. You're not broken for wanting support. You're not wrong for wanting more, okay? You deserve to heal beyond survival mode. You deserve to build a life where you can breathe, where you can rest, where you can trust again. And you don't have to rush it. Okay, I'm not saying this has to happen tomorrow. I've been in therapy for years, and I identified this a long time ago, but it's taken a long time to work on this. Healing happens one brave moment at a time. So I just want to thank you for being here with me today. I know that this conversation can kind of bring up a lot. And if it's the first time you've ever heard of this topic, you might need to listen to this more than once. But thank you for letting me share this piece of my journey with you. And if this episode resonated with you, I would love for you to share it with someone else who might need it. We all deserve to heal from this, and you never know whose armor you might soften by just starting this conversation. It will benefit their life immensely. And as always, remember this: the biggest risk is not failing, it's staying the same. And you cannot change the past, but you can absolutely decide on the future. So upgrade accordingly.